Everyone told Sarah to rehome her 2 Rottweilers before the baby came. 14 people, 6 months, the same morning, over and over. She refused, and at 2:07 in the morning, 6 weeks after her son came home, her 122-pound Rott in the dark and pressed his nose against her arm until she woke up. What she found in the nursery is something she has never forgotten. Sarah had a plan for everything. The nursery was painted sage green by week 32. The hospital bag was packed by week 34. The car seat was installed, inspected, and reinstalled correctly by week 36, after a YouTube tutorial and 40 minutes of quiet frustration in the driveway. What Sarah did not have a plan for was what to do about Kaiser and Reina. Kaiser was 4 years old, 122 pounds, black and mahogany, with a broad chest and a stare that had made more than one delivery driver reconsider ringing the doorbell. Reina was 3, slightly smaller at 114 pounds, quieter than her brother, with the focused energy of someone who was always tracking something just outside your field of vision. They had been Sarah's dogs since before the pregnancy, before the husband, before any of this. And now every person in her life, her mother-in-law, her coworker who forwarded 3 articles in 1 week, was telling her the same thing. You need to rehome them before the baby comes. Sarah didn't rehome them. The warnings started the moment she announced the pregnancy. Rottweilers are unpredictable. You can't trust a dog that size around a newborn. It only takes 1 second. She heard it so many times that she started keeping a mental tally. 14 people in 6 months. 14 people who had never met Kaiser or Reina, had never watched Kaiser gently step over a sleeping cat, had never seen Reina sit motionless for 20 minutes because a butterfly had landed on the porch railing and she didn't want to disturb it. Sarah's husband, James, was quieter about his concerns, but they were there. She could see it in the way he watched Kaiser move through the house after they got home from their first ultrasound, measuring something, calculating. "We'll see how they do," he said finally. It wasn't exactly a ringing endorsement. Baby Eli came home on a Thursday afternoon in March. Sarah carried him through the front door in his car seat, set him gently on the living room floor, and looked up. Kaiser was already there. He hadn't barked when they pulled in, hadn't jumped when the door opened. He was simply present, sitting 4 feet from the car seat, completely still, head slightly lowered, studying the small wrapped thing that had arrived in his house. Reina appeared from the hallway. She stopped beside her brother, looked at Eli, then looked at Sarah. James hovered near the kitchen doorway, ready. Kaiser took 1 slow step forward, then another. He lowered his massive head until his nose was 2 inches from the car seat and inhaled, long and deliberate. Then he sat back down, looked at Sarah, and exhaled through his nose, like a man who had completed an important assessment and reached a satisfactory conclusion. Reina did the same thing, then walked to the nursery door and sat down in front of it. She didn't move for the rest of the evening. The first 2 weeks were an adjustment for everyone. Eli slept in 4-hour stretches, Sarah slept in whatever fragments remained. James went back to work after 10 days, and Sarah found herself alone with a newborn and 2 dogs, running on cold coffee and the anxiety of a new mother who had read too much and slept too little. Kaiser established his routine by day 3. Every time Sarah put Eli down, in the bassinet, on the playmat, in the bouncer, Kaiser would follow, circle once, and lie down within arm's reach, just close, present in the way that felt less like a dog and more like a decision. Reina claimed the nursery. She simply began sleeping in front of the nursery door every night, positioned so that anyone entering would have to step over 114 pounds of Rottweiler. Sarah tried moving her twice. Both times, Reina was back by morning. Sarah stopped trying. Still watching but haven't subscribed yet? That honestly stings a little. Hit that button. You'll want to be here for what happens next. The night everything changed happened at 2:07 a.m., 6 weeks after Eli came home. Kaiser woke Sarah up, not by barking, by standing beside her bed and pressing his nose against her arm, repeatedly with the focused persistence of someone who had tried the polite version and was moving on to urgent. Sarah sat up. The baby monitor was quiet. The house was dark. Kaiser walked to the door and looked back at her. She followed him. He led her straight to the nursery, where Reina was standing, not lying, standing, pressed against the side of the crib, eyes fixed on Eli. Her body was rigid in a way Sarah had never seen before. Not aggressive, alert, the way she looked at the back fence when something moved in the alley at night. Sarah reached into the crib. Eli's lips had a faint bluish tinge. His breathing was shallow and irregular, catching slightly on each inhale in a way that a monitor set to standard sensitivity would not have caught. She called 911 without turning on the light. The paramedics arrived in 8 minutes. The pediatrician later explained that Eli had experienced a brief respiratory event, likely RSV-related, in most cases self-resolving, but in some cases not, and the difference often came down to how quickly someone noticed. Someone had noticed at 2:07 a.m., someone with 122 pounds and a nose that could detect a change in breathing patterns that no monitor in the house was calibrated to catch. Eli is 8 months old now. Kaiser is 5. Reina is 4. Reina still sleeps in front of the nursery door. Sarah stopped questioning it around month 2 and has fully accepted it as a permanent architectural feature of their home. Kaiser still circles before lying down, still positions himself between Eli and the front door whenever someone knocks, still looks at Sarah after every assessment with the expression of a professional confirming that everything is in order. 14 people told Sarah to rehome her dogs before her baby came. 14 people looked at 236 pounds of Rottweiler and saw a risk. What they couldn't see was a dog standing in a dark nursery at 2:07 in the morning, completely still, watching a 6-week-old baby breathe. Watching, waiting, and knowing before anyone else did that something was wrong. You don't always get to choose who protects your family. Sometimes they were already there, waiting for the moment they were needed. Trust your dogs, learn their signals, and if someone tells you to give up an animal that has never given you a reason to doubt them, ask yourself who they're really protecting. Because on the night that mattered most, it wasn't the monitor that saved Eli, it was the dog nobody thought should be there. Would you have kept your Rottweilers after everyone told you to rehome them? Or would the pressure have been too much? Tell me in the comments.